Assalamu alaikum, dear friends. This is my last day. These are my final hours in Jordan. I decided before leaving to show you how I have been living all these years. So let's see what's important for us. Come with me. As for you personally, this is the room where I made my videos. This was my background. There was a green cloth hanging here, and here was also a backdrop. Here are my lamps. And over here, these are all the textbooks we studied at the university. And here is where we created content. Now let's go outside and take a look at the street. I would also like to show you the view. Sorry for the bit of creative mess. I'm leaving today. The view from the balcony. This is the view that opened up before me. Every evening I would come out and look. This is Suila. We're going to take a walk there now. Alright, let's go outside. So, let's go down to our courtyard. Oh. I forgot the keys inside. Alhamdulillah. Turns out I just had to kick the door and it opened. So let's go down. So, this small courtyard, or whatever you want to call it, I don't even know. And this is the place where Mosul children usually play. This is where they play. Look how dangerous it is here. That's why we constantly had to watch them, so they wouldn't fall down somewhere over there. And it's the same thing here. That is, in Jordan you realize that in reality the only true protector is Allah. Because how can you protect them from this? It's simply impossible. And that's why it was a bit stressful that they didn't have a normal childhood. Let's take another walk now. So, we're in the courtyard. This is our courtyard, Suwaila. This is the street where you could say there's a market. There are shops everywhere here. On the ground floor, it's nothing but shops. And by the way, this is my cameraman who's helping me shoot this video today. You all know him, right? Khalid. Already a legend. A shop. By the way, it's always dangerous to cross the road here too. This is how you raise your hand, eh? And as if by telekinesis, stop, yes, cars. This is the shop where the Yazjin brothers work. Shabib, Labib and Guy. These are my friends. We made a video together with them. And as you can see, this shop is right in front of my house, which is why I gained some extra weight, because before I had to go all the way down there. Now I just cross over, buy some chocolate and have tea right away. Right now, my friend Shabib isn't at the shop, so we'll film with him in the evening. So for now, we're just going for a walk. As you can see, there are roads everywhere, but no benches at all, nowhere to sit. Everything is built up so densely everywhere. Well, alhamdulillah. Let me show you this slope. Unfortunately, it's never possible to show on video just how steep it is. But when we go grocery shopping and so on, there are slopes and climbs everywhere. So you get really tired when you're carrying bags and going uphill. And for example, look over there. Over there, there's yet another climb. I don't know if you can see it on video or not. There's an uphill climb over there. So anyone who comes up from down there by bus has to climb up there, and then there's another climb further on and so on. Basically, it's all one continuous uphill. So it's like a workout, without even having to go far from our house. This is our 5-story building, and this is the house of Eid Marabeno, a Chechen. And most of the students try to live in this building. Now I'll show you the water that we collect on our roof. We're going to go up to the roof now, and I'll show you everything. So, we've made it up to our roof. And look, these barrels, each of these barrels holds 1 ton. Each apartment gets 1 barrel. On Sundays, we get water, and the water fills up these barrels. By the way, this is my barrel, see? It's even labeled. So on Sunday, the water is collected, and for the rest of the week, there's no water. but we each use water from our own barrel. And if you don't know how to save water, or if you have a lot going on, like lots of laundry done or cleaning, then you run out of water. Right now, I have very little water left in this barrel. But alhamdulillah, I'm leaving today, so I don't feel it. But there are times when the water runs out. That's why in Jordan, things like laundry and everything else are usually done on Sunday when the water is running. And just look at this view. This is Swaileh. So what can I tell you about Swaileh? This neighborhood you see here was founded by Chechen settlers about 120 years ago. That is, they came here when there were no houses at all. And you can see even the landscape looks Caucasian, which is why they settled here. And later these lands were gifted to them by Sultan Abdul Hamid II, I believe. And later they sold this land and some of them became millionaires here. The house I'm in right now also belongs to one of the wealthy Chechens. Mashallah, he's a very good person and helps students a lot. So that's that. This is the view. What else can I say? The water was running out. This man, he moved to Canada, and every Sunday, his water tank would fill up. But he didn't use the water. I would climb up here, open it, he gave me permission by the way, and then I'd pour it out with a bucket, so to speak, from here to over there. Some people weren't so lucky. I have a tall barrel, so I had to climb up here by hand and pour everything over there until at least a third was full. That's how it was. What else can I show you? See that green minaret over there? Right there. That's a mosque. It's called Masjid Oshashian Al-Qadim. That is the old Chechen mosque. It was the first mosque founded by Chechens, but unfortunately, it was demolished. But the minaret is still standing for now. They demolished it because some water was accumulating there, or maybe the walls cracked, I'm not sure. In any case, they removed it, unfortunately. Let me show you the view from the other side. There's a pretty good view there as well. Oh, and by the way, there's also a cemetery here. Look, you see the people living in this building. Look, they've set up the roof as some kind of platform. So they have things hanging up there, as you can see, right? And that's it. And it turns out the first floor has shops. The second floor also has shops. And then on the third floor, that's where they actually live. And as you can see, there are even a lot of places where the rebar is sticking out. That's so that when their children grow up, they can build another floor. So, for example, a 2-story house for one generation eventually turns into a 4- or 5-story building. Is this the main reason why all the houses look so different? Because they weren't originally built as finished structures. And over there, you can see, that's a cemetery. If you can zoom in, that's a cemetery. It's full. And they say there are no more spots left. But that's also a Chechen cemetery, you could say. But now it's not just Chechens living here. There are Chechens, Jordanians, everyone lives here. And over there too, there's a beautiful road. You can film that side as well. Well, let's go down now and walk around below. So now I'll show you another staircase. When you see it, you'll be surprised. There are always staircases here. For me, Jordan will always be associated with staircases. And just look at this staircase. After a workout, a leg workout, I have to climb up it. There's also a descent down there. But when you climb up this staircase, you realize that the leg workout was unnecessary. That's how it is. I mean, when there is a staircase, because most of the time there aren't even stairs, just an incline. So don't think I'm complaining. It's actually good for your health. Oh, look. A cat. Just clean and beautiful. Cats are a real rarity in Jordan. I've noticed that in Arab countries, cats are usually not very pretty. But back home in the Caucasus, even any stray cat is already being sold. In stores, or at least behind the store. So, let's go. Let's head down. Down there, there's more. Down, 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 down. And in Jordan, there are a lot of poor people, and they live in houses like these, as you can see, right? That is, they're not well equipped. So when you travel, you realize what kind of incredible home we live in. We live like kings. The king of Jordan probably doesn't live like an average Chechen, or even a typical Caucasian family. Look, these are the kinds of houses they live in. There are some kids sitting over there. He doesn't want to say hello, but that's okay. This is our gym. Unfortunately, it's closed today because it's the day of Arafah and everyone is fasting. Here's some broken down car here. So people just abandon their cars because scrapping the car would cost more than just leaving it here. That's why they just leave them. Now we're going to walk along the street that's basically called Souk Suel. It's kind of like the Swelk Market Street. And look, show them the shops that are everywhere here. All the way up, there are shops, shops, shops. So, let's go down. And we just come out here to buy something. Alhamdulillah, everything is within reach. The only thing is there are a lot of smells here. Look, here's some meat. Show them the meat, Khalid. And of course, I don't really want to talk about the negative sides, but there are big problems when it comes to cleanliness. But there is a good side too. The people are very nice, kind, responsive, mashallah, and simple. But it would be good if they worked a little more on cleanliness. And this is the store where we buy vegetables. It's run by an Egyptian. The vegetables here are generally pretty good, and I think the prices are about the same as back home. Not more expensive, not cheaper. But bananas, look at the bananas. These are local bananas. What else, Khalid, can we say? This fruit or vegetable, what is it, Khalid? Do you know? Zucchini? Alright, let's go. And these are Shami sweets. Let's take a look at what kinds of sweets they have here. Almost all of this is honey. Everything related to honey. Look, these ones here. I'm not particularly fond of them, but they're considered a delicacy here. Khalid, do you know what they're called? Can you comment?
What?
What is this called?
Harissa.
Harissa?
Harissa.
And this one?
I don't know what that is.
So, as you can see, this is basically what the sweets look like. It's almost all honey and dough. Alright, let's keep filming. Let's get out of here. Now we're going to a bakery. We'll show you how we buy bread here. I'm Abrar. Abrar, know yourself. I'm Abrar Hassan from Uzbekistan. I study at the Fiqh Hanafi University. When are you in Urdun? This is my second year. Awa? Yes, 2 years. How do you like Urdun? It's beautiful, really. What are your goals? All positions. To study and study. I would like to give you this book. Sorry, I talked a lot about this. Why did I bring it up? This book is from our teacher, Dr. Obaid Mohammed. He is a doctor at the Academy of Uzbekistan. I brought it up because this book is sold in Uzbekistan and it's all in Arabic, and for those who don't speak it. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Is he Uzbek? No, he's from Mexico. Yes, from Mexico. He comes to Uzbekistan and studies. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. The concept of macro strategies, learning strategies, and documents. He can study. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Thank you, Allah. This is very important. Another problem is when you walk down this street with children. There are always toys along the way here, and they keep asking to buy something. Oh, by the way, here's something else interesting. Here, regular cats are being sold. There is nothing particularly remarkable or out of the ordinary here. Everything is just normal and unexceptional. Here's a goldfish for you. And now, little sharks. Now let's move on. Well, on the waste sheet as well. What do we have here?
This is a dairy products store.
Dairy products?
Yes, they sell cheese here and various things made from milk.
Great. And not just from milk. I see there are also...
Well, there are vegetables, all that stuff.
And what do we have over there? We have a smoothie. Khalid, did you buy a smoothie from there?
Just once.
They make the smoothie right from the fruit on the spot. Khalid, how did you like the smoothie there?
It was very tasty.
They make it for you right from the fruit, don't they?
Yes, but only if you just order a smoothie, for example, let's say banana with milk. It takes them almost half an hour to actually make it.
But that means it's a real smoothie. Where are we going now?
To the bakery.
Do you think people will find this interesting?
Maybe, just maybe. Now Khalid and I are actually going to go into the store right now together, just as we planned. We have a very interesting Chechen dish here. How much does this cost? About 300?
Yeah, it costs about 1,300. This is Chechenka. There's a woman here who makes it, and let's show it now. This is also Chechen. Barsh. Nuts. What else?
A traditional Jordanian sausage.
Cheap Jordanian sausage. I didn't like them.
Me neither. They added way too many chemicals. Also, another crazy climb. Right. So here, as you can see, they actually sell almost every imaginable variety of bread right here to their customers. These are their sweets indeed. And here as well. What are these people doing? They're buying bread over there. He says, fresh bread. How do you like the bread in Jordan? Some are tasty, some are not. All types of bread with sesame seeds here are absolutely delicious and flavorful, but the rest simply aren't.
So now we're going to head back home by the same road. Show the slope of this road. Show the angle specifically. No. Show it straight like this. If you look like this, here's the slope. What's interesting? Now I'll tell you about another thing. Sometimes it happens that a house has the first floor on one side. Look, this is the first floor down there, and here it's the second. But when you enter from this side in, it turns out to be the first floor from here. On the other side is the second one. And when you live, it's kind of like this. When you need to... Masha, I stepped out for a bit. You know, on the one hand, he lived in an apartment where if you enter from one side, it's the basement, but if you enter from the other side, it's the second floor. So I don't even know how to explain it. It's basically the same thing here. Now we're going up, you see, my voice is already breaking because these climbs are really exhausting. And don't think that I'm complaining a lot or being too negative, but life for Jordanians is really not easy. And you could say that at least we have somewhere to go. Yes, there are some advantages here. For them, this is just normal life. For us, though, it's really much harder. Well, if I had to point out something good, I'll say it again. It's definitely the people. Jordanians have become like a kindred people to me. What I like about them is that they are very responsive, always quick to answer questions or help out whenever you need it. They don't divide people by nationality or background, so you never get the feeling that someone is trying to use you or deceive you here, which really helps build a sense of trust and comfort. Plus, people here are genuinely simple, down to earth, and they treat you as one of their own, making you feel truly welcome and included. Overall, among Arabs, I really like Jordanians as a people. Alhamdulillah. The weather here is generally quite pleasant, but the prices, Ezzy, are really high indeed. That's why, as people often mention, someone once came here for a short period of time, saw what life is truly like, and said, except for those who come here to study for the sake of Allah, no one would stay. Maybe there's some truth to his words, but I'm glad that this stage has now been successfully completed. And I ask Allah to make life easier for Arabs, Jordanians, and Palestinians, of course, first and foremost. May Allah, the most merciful and compassionate, help our oppressed brothers and sisters in Palestine. May Allah, the Almighty, grant them a swift and decisive victory over these accursed and unjust Zionists. And now we're heading up another road. We'll film there as well. Show the place, Khalid. What do we have here? Cars absolutely everywhere, cars all around. There's so many cars, you can't let a child go anywhere alone. It's all roads, cars, and stone. Alhamdulillah. And what else can be said about the language in Jordan? Jordanians speak Arabic in their daily lives, but in a distinct neolect, which is unique to their region. And their neolect is actually quite clear and in fact very easy to understand for most people. And there is a common misconception that supposedly after learning classical Arabic it's pointless, that Arabs don't speak it, that Arabs don't understand it. All of this is far from the truth. Yes, Arabs don't speak it in daily life, but they do understand it and can speak it if needed. For example, in any of these stores I can simply go in and do exactly what I need to do whenever I need to at any time, all by using Fusha. I've been in Ukraine for 4 years now, and I don't speak in dialect. I know a little bit, but Fusha is enough. There's really no point. You're a foreigner anyway. You're a foreigner, so there's nothing surprising about you speaking the classical language, the language of textbooks. It's natural, so don't worry at all about these dialects. When you need to, you'll easily learn it anyway, so Fusha. Classical Arabic is the language that will help you in any Arab country. However, it's important to remember that a dialect such as the Jordanian dialect is really only useful when you are actually in Jordan, because people in other regions may not understand it well. For example, the area I'm heading to right now is known as the Chechen district, which is a part of the city where many people have a different linguistic background. In this district, the Jordanian dialect might not be as helpful since the local community has its own unique way of speaking. There are a lot of Chechens here now, although in the past there were many more. But they're still here now. Here's a guy, Yod, he's also Chechen. Show him what I want to say. The Chechens here speak the Chechen language with a slight accent, but they speak proper Chechen. In 120 years they haven't lost their language, mashallah. That's certainly a great achievement, and that's why as a Chechen I feel very comfortable in Jordan. They speak Chechen, everyone, as if they're all Chechens. There's a woman sitting over there, Chechens. There's a man sitting over there, Chechens. So you don't feel like an outsider. They even ask you which family you're from. They think you're from Jordan, from here, and that you live in one of these houses. By the way, have you seen this house? Have you seen it? Where did it come from? So beautiful and red among all this gray. An absolutely beautiful landscape. Simply just... There's an intersection down there. We'll show it to you now. It's called Murad Bashichani. It's like a Chechen intersection. And so guys, the local Chechens always gather at this intersection in cars, on foot. They sit there and basically drink tea or coffee. there are people sitting there too, drinking tea, drinking coffee. Unfortunately, they smoke a lot. Smoking in Jordan is a very big problem because here you could say every second person, or maybe even every single person, smokes just everywhere, in cars, on the bus. People smoke everywhere, and over time you start to feel embarrassed to ask them to put out their cigarette. You feel like you're the one in the wrong. You get into a taxi, the driver starts smoking, and you, almost feeling guilty, say to him, "Excuse me, could you put out your cigarette?" So smoking is a big problem in Jordan. Or rather, I would say the smoking culture. Not even the act of smoking itself, but the fact that they smoke everywhere. Well, basically, I think this is the last segment. I just wanted to show you, together with Harrod, where we lived, where we walked, these streets, these places. Mostly, it's even more for myself, as a memory to look back on later, to remember. And maybe some of you will find it interesting too. This is where we spent the last 4 years of our lives. It wasn't easy. At times, we asked ourselves a lot of questions. Do we really need this? Why do we need this education? And so on. And all these expenses, but the years have passed. The money that was spent, it's not like we earned it through blood, so to speak. Money came and went, so time has passed. 4 years have gone by. My friends are still my friends, just as before. Still there in the same places. Those who were working didn't even change their jobs in those 4 years. Some have a few more gray hairs, a couple of new ones appeared. In other words, the world hasn't changed over these 4 years, but we have changed here in these 4 years, so... And the money we all spent, well, so what if we spent it, however much it was, now it doesn't really matter to us, not at all. That money could have been spent on anything, so Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, it was a good experience. I don't regret anything. On the contrary, I'm glad that I found that Allah gave me strength. I didn't find anything myself. That Allah gave me strength, gave me opportunities. And you know, when you set out on the path of seeking knowledge, no matter how it happens, such amazing things occur. You can really see divine intervention. In your actions, everything becomes easy for you, and even your sustenance, meaning you somehow manage to earn money, and everything just seems to work out on its own. So if you want something, and when I came to Jordan, everything was barely calculated for me. Whether I could manage or not, maybe I could, maybe I couldn't, especially financially. But as soon as I arrived, Alhamdulillah, work started going better, I got a lot of new students and so on. So, of course, it may sound trivial, but just do it. No, just don't do it. But if there's at least a 50-50 chance, take the risk, because you might lose money, you might lose time, but you lose money anyway. Someone could lose 200, 300,000 in an accident or on something else, or because of all sorts of illnesses. So this money is going to leave you one way or another. So it's better for that money to be spent on striving for something higher, something noble, rather than just on everyday life. So don't worry. Try, don't be afraid, you'll succeed. And even if you don't make it to Jordan, then don't worry, there's always knowledge in any other Arab country. There are books online, on this channel. So these are all just different paths. You tried this path, it worked for me, maybe it didn't work for someone else. Well then, take another path. Try this way and that way. In other words, keep knocking on that door until it opens. Barakallahu alaykum. Assalamu alaikum. Thank God. I am so incredibly grateful. Thank God for every blessing, for every moment, for everything that has happened in my life. My heart is overflowing with gratitude, and I truly cannot express enough how thankful I am. Thank God from the bottom of my heart for all that has been given to me.